Let's discuss. Hey everyone, it's Rachel back again with another video, and today I'm going to be checking out a new track from Silent Planet called Anunnaki, which I saw them perform live on the Dayseeker tour they're currently on, and it was insane. So I have very high expectations. I've done a few songs that I saw live for the first time. Immolation of Night by Invent Animate was one of those tracks, and experiencing something live is definitely much different than the studio version, so I am excited to check this out. Definitely excited to get it added to my playlist. I will link all of Silent Planet's social media promotional links, pre-orders for the album SUPERBLOOM, which this is the 4th single off of and will be out on November 3rd. I'm very excited for it. It is one of, it's probably my most anticipated album for the rest of the year right now. I'm pretty excited for End as well, but Silent Planet has like the ingredients I need for a top of the playlist type of album. These singles have been phenomenal. So I'm going to stop talking and we are going to get straight into it. Clean transition. Oh, keep getting thrown off by the timing. Ooh, I love that "there's nothing left for me" line.
Nothing ever sounds the same. I am flowing through your veins. I am motion. I am motion. I am retribution.
Silent Planet, Anunnaki, let's discuss. It somehow goes just as hard as I had remembered it. Sometimes when you see something live, it's like, either it was like the high energy of the show, or that was like one of the most insane songs that they've put out. And I really think that it has some of like the tone right away when you get that it sounds a little bit like the tone from Panopticon, but otherwise it definitely takes shape and brings in some of like the sounds and stuff that you get on singles like Antimatter and stuff in a very subtle way. Some, like, there was one transition that was like, it had some of that atmosphere in it, but it has unsurprisingly, something everyone would have noticed. It has that heaviness, that edge to it that Silent Planet definitely is capable of. I think seeing tracks like Antimatter shows how they can use that in a different way, because that track definitely has some edge to it as well. While it, as it starts out, the first time I heard it, it being the first single other than Signal, which Signal, it's like it was the heaviest single, but this obviously takes over for that, but it still has a different feeling to me than this track. Each track has its own feel, but they fit together really well, which I love stuff like that, where you get the diversity, but at the same time, it feels like a connected piece that we're getting. And once we get the full album, I'm sure that's going to be the case even more so, and I'm excited to see what the tracks will bring, because each one has an impression that it leaves in its own sound in my mind after, the first listen. This one definitely does. Some of the lyrics on this really stand out to me. Alex with the blast beats as well. Blast beats with Silent Planet aren't something that they utilize for their discography really, but having it in here, sometimes just very briefly too, it just sounds fantastic and was a little bit of a surprise for me. It's Garrett too, his vocals, he's obviously worked on his singing and stuff, which we see in some of the other singles, but this has more, there's that part that's kind of spoken and leads up to the breakdown, but other than that, it shows that his screams, some of his lows are just as polished as he's gotten his singing voice, which you love to see. I feel like this album is shaping up to be come right under Heavener for me. I really don't know that anything could beat Heavener for me. It's the best album from my absolute favorite band, but if anything does come to challenge it this year, this is the album I feel like would do that. Collider has one of my favorite riffs from this year. Antimatter, just as a track, gets stuck in my head so often that I'm always revisiting it. Signal was a last year track, but revisiting it more in the context of, okay, this fits with the other singles. I've been probably listening to it even more now than initially when it came out, and I loved it from the beginning. But now we've got 4 singles from the album. We've got about a month and maybe a half. Where are we? We're like before the 25th, definitely. So about a month and a half or so until the album. If they do another single, I may try my best to save it for the album, but I'm not sure I'll be able to do it. Anyway, let me get back on topic here with this track. The chorus on this one definitely gives us a bit of a different style of chorus, and it seems like Mitch has some backing vocals in there, like some screams in there, which sounded really good. The chorus kind of threw me for a loop, because we've had stuff like, Antimatter being a great example of that, which it just shows a much different side of Silent Planet. And I think looking at Antimatter and this track as like the sides of the spectrum we have right now for the sound on this album is incredibly exciting, because they obviously have very different feels to them. And like I mentioned, Antimatter is just kind of, it's heavy in its own ways, but this is obviously turned all the way up. Huge instrumental performance, as well as already mentioning Garrett's vocals and Mitch having a spot in the chorus as well, but the instrumentals are just wacky as well, and the use of synth is much different in this track. I think when you look at tracks like Antimatter, that's like the synthy planet I was talking about in my initial video, but here you can hear a little bit of assistance, like leading up to some drops and kind of adding to the atmosphere that is present in this track, but it's not like a main focus here. So I think having it used in the like, help as build up in a few spots that kind of stand out because of the use there, it helps what I was talking about before with the singles tying together really well. Coming to the point of the video where I'd normally mention, like, this is what I would want to see different. I really don't have anything. They're 4 for 4 singles for me right now. I think this will be high up for me, but Antimatter, Collider, after listening to this track technically twice, I suppose, hearing it live, it's going to be impossible for me to rank it against those until I listen to this a bunch of times, as I have with the rest of the singles. But like I mentioned, it's a very exciting progression towards the album. It shows that, you know, heaviness turned all the way upside that we know Silent Planet is obviously capable of, and they really are just feeling like the most polished version of Silent Planet, which is a big statement because When the End Began is still one of my favorite records of all time. I've even been playing it more and more again. I feel like I go through, you know, times where I don't listen to it as much, and then I put it back on the playlist once and I'm stuck on it again. That album is just fantastic. It's my favorite version of Silent Planet. I really enjoyed Iridescent as well. I would love one day to see the title track off that album live because I just hold it in a very special place in my heart. And so Silent Planet, I think, in addition to this being a nice layout of singles, I think having that sort of connection with the band, knowing they're able to you know, write songs that are very pissed or that kind of tap into like that place in my heart that makes me really emotional. I have high expectations for SUPERBLOOM, which will be out on November 3rd, as I already mentioned. Pre-orders are up. Silent Planet runs a Patreon that is incredible. They actually released a version of this, a studio version, which I'm going to get to go watch now. I decided to hold off on it because I didn't want to listen to the song too much before my video and kind of breaking down the song after my like real first impression. I think the impressions of songs I get live are much different than when I sit down with them. The studio version with the music video and such, my impression is much different, but hearing this live was incredible. Everybody in the room was just energy levels all the way through the roof, and I think the reception is in line with how the sound is. So those are really my thoughts on first listen. Let me know what you thought in the comments. If you know what your favorite single is so far, let me know. Other than that, I will be covering Silent Planet's album, of course. If they do another single, I'm up in the air, saving it for the album or doing, you know, listening to it right away. We'll see how things go. Anyway, as I mentioned, all of their promotional links, the Patreon that I had mentioned, which has a great Discord community as well. You can come hang with us in the Discord if you join their Patreon. All of that will be in the description of this video. Pre-orders for the album. Make sure you go to the original video from Silent Planet and leave a comment, a like, give them some love if you enjoyed this song, because it does help out the bands, helps out with the algorithm and stuff like that. So all that being said, you can also find my link tree in the description. That will have my Patreon, it will have my Twitch channel, the Discord server invite link, any link you may need related to my channel. It'll be in that link tree in the description. On Patreon, I offer many different things. I just posted a video, part 1 of a 5-part video I'll be posting this year for what bands I've been listening to the most over the course of this year. I did part 1, which was bands 25 through 21. And I will continue making the videos and posting them as the year closes out, maybe talking about bands that shift and make higher or you know, bands that take over for certain bands I've already mentioned since I started towards the end of September. But various other things. I make playlists for people on tier 3. It's all listed out in the tiers if you want to take a look at that. And my Twitch channel is where I do all of my streaming, my music related streaming. I do request streams every Tuesday, unless I have a show or something like this upcoming week where I will need to figure out a replacement day or change the time. But otherwise, I am on there every Tuesday taking song requests. I have some other types of streams that we'll be doing. I think this upcoming week is a very big week for shows for me, so I'll probably do a stream where I talk about some live shows I've been to this year. Silent Planet will be in that list for sure. So all of the links, the Discord community, which is where the community for my YouTube channel is based, a lot of music lovers in there talking about music-related stuff and stuff completely unrelated. So if you want to come join, that will be there as well. As always, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it.